Go ahead.
Well, you know, in certain religions, there's the Melchizedek priesthood.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want to share a little bit about, is it that same energy?
Yes. Now that's a little controversial
Right.
because the name of Melchizedek is found in the Old Testament, and he was supposed to be the highest of the high priests. And so some religions took that energy and placed it upon their priesthood. Now, the priesthood of God is actually a priesthood not just of Melchizedek, but all the energy of God. And so when we just call it upon one individual of the Old Testament, it's actually short-sighted because it's reducing the power of God, which is within all of the priests of the Old Testament and all of the highest beings of light. Now, you know, and I don't want to make any religion seem not beneficial to this, but truthfully, Melchizedek was one of the most magnificent high priests. And the reason why is he followed all of what God was teaching. And that's why he became the greatest of all the high priests. But what's interesting is there are many other high priests who carried this energy and were also teachers of Saint Germaine. Saint Germaine was visited throughout his ascension process by all of the Ascended Masters and the Elohim. And in fact, Melchizedek was just one of them. And so just know that when we are following Saint Germaine, we're following teachings of all of the high priests, all of the seven Elohim, all of the Shohans, all of the Ascended Masters. So it's very expansive. It's not just one person we're following. We're following many, many of the Ascended Masters, all created by God. So when you come into this energy, you're not limiting yourself with any human thought or discord. You're expanding your awareness to all of the energies of God. Does that make sense? So anyway, any other questions? Did that answer your question?
I have another question.
Go ahead.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the lives that Saint Germaine had on Earth in human form?
Yes. Now, we did discuss this in another lecture, but Saint Germaine has been very prominent throughout the history of the earth. And in fact, you know, was one of the very early prophets of Joshua. And Joshua was a very important prophet in the Old Testament. In fact, he prophesied of the coming of the Christ and the energies needed for the redemption of God, which is the love of God. Now, the love of God is the violet flame, because it's the divine mercy, the divine justification, the divine energies that actually purify us and allow us to go through the ascension process at all. Because if we didn't have the purification of the Christ energy, we would be doomed to exist in this dimension until we blew up the planet and have to incarnate somewhere else. And so, you know, the Arcturians have been instrumental. One of their, you know, I'm getting off track with Saint Germaine a little bit, but Saint Germaine brought the Arcturians here to help purify the planet. And there's an interesting story. We fired an active missile by mistake up into the sky, and it would have started World War III. And an Arcturian ship came up, kind of shot some laser beams, opened up the thing, and dropped the warhead into the ocean, deactivated it, and then later went and picked it up so it wouldn't cause any radiation or explosion. But they actually kept it from exploding, which prevented World War III. And see, if we'd have had World War III, we probably would have destroyed the planet, and all of us would be stuck not going through the ascension. So the energies of Saint Germaine have brought through the Dark Ages. They called it the Dark Ages because there just wasn't light coming into the planet Earth. And we were very far from the teachings of God, the pure teachings of God. And we weren't, very few, literally from what I understand, the first one to ascend after Christ was Saint Germaine. So we went 1,500 years without any humans ascending, which is quite fascinating. So Saint Germain helped bring that consciousness back to the planet. And he also appeared to the founding fathers, appeared and helped George Washington, helped construct our Constitution, which is a God instrument, a God-inspired instrument. Saint Germain was Merlin, who helped assist, bringing in the Magna Carta, which was the first instrument that actually guaranteed humans' rights that weren't the kings and queens and all the people in power. And so Saint Germain has been an essential being to bring about our freedom and our ascension, the ability to ascend, and showed us with the Christ energy how we could do that. And that's why Christ came, was to teach us love, and we came to a very mean planet at the time. And that's why, we crucified Christ, was we were very naughty people, and you shouldn't do that sort of thing. So anyway, any other questions? I've taken a full half hour, and I apologize we started late, but God bless each and every one of you, and I invite you to bring the ascension energy in by calling on the Ascended Masters, because when we call upon them, they come. It's like when you say the name of a deceased ancestor, their energy comes and they respond. But when you call in the Ascended Masters, their energy responds to us and comes in and helps us. So I invite